a step back into the side. Muriqi stayed right with him.
Use that jab.
There's that good stabbing left hand that Teddy's been looking for. Wants to see consistency with it, Max.
Jab is the key.
Stop. Let him out. Step back clean.
Teddy also wants to see Muriqi dictating the pace. You know, Michael Grant against Dominic Gwynn, Teddy kept stressing, you have to dictate, don't wait. Muriqi's not waiting here. A little bit more this round maybe than the last. Crawford's taking a little bit more the lead, but basically Muriqi is attempting to dictate, which is something that Teddy preaches.
Max, we've seen a lot of Elvir Muriqi through the years. Love to get your take on what you see in terms of improvement through the years. Obviously, there's a certain confidence in terms of that pace and controlling the point that you just made.
I mean, he's already better than I thought he'd be. Maybe this is as good as I thought he'd ever be, and he's still young and still improving. It's impressive. I never thought he was going to beat a guy like Sami Ahmad. No matter how shot Sami Ahmad was, he did. And now here he is. Crawford, you can say what you want about him. He's been in there pretty good throughout his career and has always held his own. And Muriqi's winning the fight.
And obviously, Jimmy Crawford been in with top-tier talent. Challenge for the 168-pound belt against Sven Otke. Took on Olympian and hot prospect Jeff Lacey, and now here he is with Elvir Muriqi. 2 rounds in the books from Atlantic City.
Okay. Stop.
Miller Lite, round number 3. Elvir, the Kosovo kid, Muriqi, and Jimmy Crawford. The jabs in round number 2, something we're tracking as a storyline tonight for Elvir Muriqi. Landed 8 out of 27. Crawford, 3 out of 32. The story for Crawford, he only landed 1 power connect in that entire second round. Joe Tessitore along with Max Kellerman as Teddy Atlas is in the corner of Elvir Muriqi.
Joe, I think that Crawford felt Muriqi's left hook in there twice. I thought he felt it. It stunned him for a second. He shook his head no. That usually means it hurt.
What'd you do? Take a vacation on the jab, Elvir?
Let's go.
You know, we talked about it at the start of this fight, Max. The lack of respect from Jimmy Crawford with concerns to Elvir Muriqi's left hand and his use of that jab. He said he doesn't know what a jab is.
He's right. Coming into this fight, that's a perfectly legitimate comment. But you know what? Muriqi's out-jabbing him.
Absolutely he is. And he's been effective so far here in round number 3. A little swelling under the eyes of Jimmy Crawford.
Right, and we say out-jabbing, and then you see there's only 2 landed for Muriqi, but they're landing flush.
2 in the first round, 8 in that second round. And showing some control, a little short right hand here halfway through the 3rd round.
You know, you got to be impressed with Muriqi's discipline here, too. He's fighting a disciplined fight, and we're coming into the last minute of the 3rd round against a more experienced guy, and he's fighting a real disciplined fight. And in fact, he's outboxing Crawford.
Good sidestep, comes back with the right hand.
And you might think, well, Teddy saw something in Crawford, so he let his guy in there with him. You know, it doesn't matter how smart the trainer is. At a certain point, you take a step up in class. Not a given that you're going to win the fight. On paper, this is a very losable fight for Muriqi, and it's impressive that he's winning.
Especially considering the fact, Max, that Jimmy Crawford was having trouble making weight at 168, and he was fading a little bit in some of the later rounds of those fights, especially against Sven Otke. He feels much more comfortable at 175 and has much more pop at 175, and that's where he finds Elvir Muriqi.
Well, it also tells you something that he was stopped by Sven Otke. I mean, it's on the one hand, it's impressive that he fought the real #1 guy in the division, Otke, Crawford, that is. And on the other hand, Otke really doesn't knock out anyone, but he managed to stop Crawford. So that gives you a good indication of whereabout Crawford is as a fighter.
And there's a slip here in the closing moments of round number 3. He pulled him down.
Elvir, not 1 punch.
Okay, let's go.
Jab.
Muriqi Crawford, more to come.
Time.
WBO junior middleweight champion Daniel Santos and WBA flyweight champion Eric Morel. Contact your pay-per-view provider to order.
big barley deal.
Light heavyweights to start off our night on Friday Night Fights. The Kosovo kid, Elvir Muriqi, looking good for the first 3 rounds against Jimmy Crawford, former title challenger.
Elvir, you didn't have to make a move. Punch first. You make the move, you let him
The
in.
power punches through 3 rounds, 23-6 edge for Muriqi. He landed 11 of them in that 3rd round, and Max Kellerman in that 3rd round, listening to what Jimmy Crawford had to say on the stool. He said to his trainer, Kenny Buffington, hey, I did get hurt a little bit there.
I love it when the numbers tell you that you're not crazy what you're looking at. You know?
Punch when you go back. Use that jab, Elvir. Set shots up off that jab. Don't look for one shot. Don't look for one shot. 2 hands, 2 hands.
That was a nice little left uppercut in there, Joe. For Muriqi.
Teddy Atlas still
Put the right
preaching.
hand with that. 2, 3 shots, not 1.
Wants the punches in bunches from the Kosovo kid.
That's all. Just make a miss. That's all we want to do, right? We don't want to punch. You don't want to hit him when you make a miss.
I've been with Teddy and Muriqi watching fights where Teddy's gone over his philosophy with Elvir, said, look, Elvir, this one guy is like the ocean. The other guy's like a piece of wood. The ocean keeps hitting that piece of wood. You want to be the ocean, not the piece of wood, and that's what Muriqi's being during this entire fight. Now Crawford's on the canvas.
And I'll tell you, Max, those digging left hands to the body, very effective over the course of the last minute here, the 4th round for Elvir Muriqi. Really solid body work.
It is, and I think the larger point, and Teddy's going over the tactics with him, but the grand strategy Muriqi's responded to very well. He's the guy dictating the pace, and that left hook might have done it. I think that might have convinced.
Again.
Yeah, I think Crawford's done.
He doesn't look like a guy that wants any more.
No. He's done.
You okay?
He's done.
Okay.
It's surprising that he's going to continue. The fight won't last long from here.
Last 30 seconds of the 4th round. Elvir Muriqi has already scored 2 knockdowns with body shots. Let's see if he can finish them.
One left hook to the body, and this fight's over.
That's it. Elvir Muriqi. Great work throughout the first 3 rounds, and then applied himself in the 4th round.
Gentlemen, you fought like a good fighter. Act like a gentleman now and be a gentleman over there.
2:39 of the 4th round. Elvir Muriqi gets the stoppage against James Crawford. Max, he was consistent throughout those first 3 rounds, but about halfway through that 4th round, he went to work on the body and didn't stop.
Muriqi can punch. I got to tell you, early in his career, it wasn't as obvious as it is now. He can punch. And Crawford is not an easy guy to dictate to. You know, he's a busy guy. He moves a lot. He switches up southpaw, orthodox. Leads with his right hand, left hooks, and yet that's exactly what Muriqi did.
A lot of good fighters you've been around. One thing, you've been 2 things. You've been always in shape, always consistent, and always a gentleman, always a pro. Thank you, I appreciate it. I'm too happy right now.
It sounded like he was eulogizing his career a little bit there, Joe, like Teddy was.
That was a nice display from Teddy Atlas. Elvir Muriqi, 27-1, 17 knockouts. Max, let's take a look at how he did it in this 4th round. Take us through it. First knockdown here.
Well, he heard him consistently with that right hand, and I didn't see where he's pointing towards his chest as if he hit him with a right hand in the chest.
It was a left hook prior to that.
No, there it is. That's right. Okay, a lot of times you see that a guy hurt with a hook that starts on one side, lands on the other side of the body. You see ribs broken that way.
There's the second knockdown there, and that was a digging left hand to that liver.
No, see, and yet he's pointing to his left pec where that original left hook hit him and hurt him.
Here's the end of the fight, Max.
But don't let a lot of people start coming in here. The commission,
the right hand, and you see Crawford favoring his body. He's guarding his body. Unclear what forced him to the canvas. Really, after the second knockdown, the fight was over.
And Crawford still complaining about his left side.
Listen, a couple times you hit them shots and you still pull it out to look at them.
Shot, baby. Just keep up your work. You're younger than this little man. All right? Thank you. Keep it up, man. I mean, you're doing great. You've got a good career started. So, hey, I'm not to help the young guys. I'm too old for this shit.
Put that on.
That's right.
Thank you, Jimmy.
So Teddy Atlas, even in an impressive display, things to work on for the Kosovo kid Elvir Muriqi. But maybe his most complete effort yet of his career. No slugfest this time against James Crawford. Pure offense and a good win. Brian, he's now 27-1 with 17 knockouts.
All right, guys, thank you very much.